Hi everyone, it's me again. I'm Alan. Today we have Karisa to continue with her life experience in Brisbane and Hong Kong. And let's say hi to Karisa. Hi, Karisa.
Hey
Hi.
guys.
So Karisa is currently a year 4 student
Yeah.
studying and majoring in international hotel and tourism management in University of Queensland.
Yeah.
Well, usually it is a 3-year program, but because of the pandemic situation,
Yeah.
Carissa is now in Hong Kong being a part-time student. That's why she is now a year 4
Yeah.
student. By the way, Carissa, when did you come back to Hong Kong?
I come back to Hong Kong, I think in the end of 2020. So like basically in Hong Kong for like more than a year already. Yeah.
Right. Aye. So yeah, so let's talk about your experience in Brisbane. So I remember that we ended at the last episode by talking about the pandemic situation and that you are coming back to being a part-time student and also a part-time worker.
Yeah.
So how do you actually continue with the learning with the university? I believe with the Zoom learning, but what is the mode of learning? What kind of structure of learning is being held?
Well, actually, UQ has provided us for like 3 choices. I mean, like they have 3 modes for students to enroll. First is internal, just for the student locates in Australia. So external students like me cannot enroll that. And then the second one is flexible delivery. That is for Australia students as well. And then the third one is external mode. That is basically everyone for the overseas students that they can study everything online, including the examination. So like I think it's pretty flexible for students to choose within these 3 choices, and it's pretty good for us to. And actually, like, UQ has deducted some of the tuition fees, like they gives discounts for external students for a tuition fee so that they can also study online, but in a less financial fees. I think it's pretty good for UQ has such choices for us.
Yeah, this really considerate actually. But why did you actually choose to come back to Hong Kong? Well, you can still continue with the online learning in Queensland, right?
Yeah. But because that time I think Queensland COVID situation is pretty bad, and I think Hong Kong is safer than Australia. So I thought maybe I just come back Hong Kong for a few months, like a vacation, and I just back to Australia. But I didn't think about that. COVID is like more than a year already, so I still stuck here for more than a year.
Ah, So, how do you think about the learning culture in Brisbane?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure about the university in Hong Kong, but I think
Mm,
what I'm learning at UK is really by my own. Like our tutor or lecturer not necessarily teach us step by step. Everything we has to learn by ourselves. Like
mm,
we attend a lecture and then we have to like uh replay back the lecture to take our own notes, and then we have to study by ourselves. And then for the assignments, we have to like the tutor will probably give us some guidance or some instruction for us to like how to write the assignment, but they won't tell us how to do it, or like they will grade our performance during the assignment period. They will actually tell us how to improve it after we hand in the assignments. So I think
mm,
it's pretty good for us to learn by ourselves, although it takes a lot of time and self-discipline to learn. But I think it's still good for students to actually become a university students to actually learn by themselves instead of people guiding them step by step.
mm. How much support does the school provide to the students?
I think for UQ we have a library that full of resources and
Mm,
references that
mm,
students can log in and search any references they want. And also I think students also can ask, they can email the tutor about what kind of, like if they have questions, they can ask during the tutorials, or they can email if they cannot attend the tutorials by themselves. And then I think tutors, like teachers, can really help us. They actually usually reply us really fast, like I think within 1 or 2 days, if we they will answer every questions we ask, and they really passionate about teaching us. I'm really happy for that.
So you've mentioned about tutors. So um, so there are two types of teachers, right? One is the tutors, one is
Yeah,
the lecturer, right? In the
yeah,
lecture hall, that part. So
yeah.
at the moment, during being a part-time student, do you still need to attend the lectures plus the
No,
tutorials?
well, actually, lecture definitely not, because during the COVID period, everything is moved to online. Even the lecture is pre-recorded.
Oh,
Yeah, so we basically need to log into our Blackboard. That's our our account, and then we
right.
just download the lecture that is recorded by the lecturer, and then we just self-study the lectures. But for tutorials, I think tutorials not compulsory as well, but if students really want to get good grades, tutorials definitely helps them to get better grades. And of course, it's a really important part for their academic life. But also, tutorials are really good opportunities for them to learn, to discuss with their group mates, or even like ask tutors questions. Yeah, I think tutorial is actually more important than lecture, as in my personal views.
Mm. So sorry, could you specify more about tutorials? Like what usually is the difference between a tutorials and a lecture? What kind of topics will have what kind of topics or what kind of things that will help the students to get a better grade because of attending a tutorials?
So basically, lecture is about some of the contents of the topics, but tutorials is more like, and some like tutors will give us some activities to based on topics, so like students can explore more with their classmates on that topics. So like tutorials is basically deepen your memories and your understanding about that topics. So yeah,
Oh.
tutorial is more like interactions between your classmates and tutors, but lecture is more like the lecturer tell you about the contents and you just jot the notes by yourself. So like tutorial is more interesting than lecture, I think.
Indeed. So, do you have a heavy workload? Because you mentioned the importance of self-discipline, and also you have to self-learning.
Mhm.
So, do you have a lot of homework, assignment, projects to work on?
Um, well, in standard, like in my first year, I think the workload is fine, because every one of us just need to study 4 courses, and we don't have courses, we don't have classes every day. So usually I just need to go to school for 2 to 3 days, or even just 4 days in a week, every week to the school. But then
Mm,
yeah, the rest of time I have to study by myself at my own house. And then I think use the self-learning part, the time for self-learning is more than the classes, because you need just probably 1 to 2 hours for a lecture or tutorials, but for your self-learning you have to like spend more than 3 hours to listen back to the lecture, or like to revise the tutorials materials that help
mm,
your learning. So I think like self-learning part takes more time than the usual school part. Yeah.
mm. Well, during the first 2 years of your study, other than the workload, other than academic life, what do you usually do in your leisure time, free time?
Well, apart from academic stuff, I usually will explore around Brisbane with my friends
Mm,
or by myself. Sometimes I like to go to some mountains around my accommodation, like and then sometimes I will go to some interesting places that probably different from Hong Kong, like IKEA, because like IKEA in Brisbane is pretty big. Yeah, so
True.
it's pretty good to explore around with my friends. And sometime I will go to Gold Coast because Gold Coast is really near Brisbane. It's like 2 hours train, just 2 hours train. So
So nice.
yes, I like to go to Gold Coast with my friends as like a little holiday. And then for the rest of the time, I probably will cook because there's not much things to do in Brisbane other than parties or going explore around with friends. So in my own time, I will cook and like to find any other cuisine to cook by myself. And actually, I've become a really good at cooking during my life in Brisbane.
Do you have any, do you need to arrange or have you arranged any international students dinner or events? Because I know that you are also the part of the what's that the University of Queensland Hong Kong Student Association, right?
HKSA, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do you need to arrange any activities for this association?
Well, yeah, because I actually become a committee of the HKSA, and I actually helps to plan the events for like Hong Kong freshmen because some I think students, the Hong Kong students really I think HKSA helps the Hong Kong students to get their life well in Brisbane. So like HKSA has a lot of events for them to meet people from Hong Kong or even people from other countries or associations like Taiwan or Singapore or even Malaysia or even local students. So like I think HKSA is a good channel for for Hong Kong students to know people from all around the world. So yeah, I think the events is really important for a freshman to join.
Is there any like a course related club or association, for example, I don't know, like a hotel association in the school,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
yeah, have
Well,
have, have you joined that?
yeah, I actually joined it, but I don't think there is much activities for us to join. And yeah, actually, every faculty or even some courses actually has a club. For my tourism management courses, we actually has a THE course. I think it's like Tourism Hotel Management Society, I think. Yeah. And then they actually offers a lot of events like networking events for students to meet with the industry experts, like to expand their social circles or even like help them to get a career in the future. Yeah,
Right.
these kind of events really help students to prepare for the future career. But yeah, I think each faculty has a uh, club by themselves, but each clubs depends on their um, depends how they run it. It's not much. Some of them probably has a lot of events, but some not really. So students can have a look and choose the one that they interested. Yeah.
For any students who would like to study abroad or study in Australia or in University of Queensland, any one word of advice you would suggest to the student?
Just one word.
Just one word. Like some students in the past guest, they suggested several words like aggressive. Some of them they say enjoy, fun, um, motivate. So many different kinds of words. So what kind of words would you suggest to the students to remember?
I think probably independent.
Mm,
Yeah, because you study abroad by yourself, you have to like do everything by your own. Even it's good thing or a bad thing, you have to deal with it. Even you have friends, but friends cannot always be around you. you have to deal with some questions by yourselves or some dilemmas by yourselves. And especially your parents not around you, you cannot ask them for advice or even ask them to help you to deal with some stuff. So I think in my life in Australia, being independent is really important to live, to survive in Australia.
Indeed. Oh, well, I think that being independent, learning to be independent is really important and it's really efficient if you study abroad.
Yeah.
Because, well, whenever you just stay in Hong Kong, you live in Hong Kong, it's very easy that you will rely on your
Yeah,
friends, rely on your
yeah,
family, right? But
yeah,
once you study abroad, it goes quite natural that you have to deal with all the problems by yourself
yeah.
and challenges every single day.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Right. So thank you so much, Carissa, for
Thank you.
suggesting us a word of independent. And I wish you all the best
Thank you.
in your career as well, your study, and I wish you can have your dream job later on
Thank you.
after the COVID period is after the COVID period. Yes.
Sure.
So thank you so much. And everyone, if you have any questions about studying in Queensland or studying in the University of Queensland in Brisbane or in Australia, leave some comments down there. We have someone reply you. So I will see you all again with our next guest speaker. So bye bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.